It's 7 o'clock. Welcome to this extraordinary Cabinet meeting on 29th of October 2015. Review of CPO Indemnity Partner for Manston Airport. I must first advise you of the fire alarm procedures. In the event of a fire alarm being activated, please vacate the offices via the stairs. Please do not use the lifts. Assemble in Hawley Square on the green. Officers will assist you and advise when it is deemed safe to return to the chamber. Will everyone present please ensure that their mobile phones are turned to silent and that they are not used to make or receive phone calls in the chamber whilst the meeting is in progress. Does anyone intend to film the meeting this evening? Thank you. Any member of the public who objects to the possibility of being filmed may wish to take this opportunity to leave the meeting. I would advise that if filming takes place, anyone in attendance in the public areas may have their image captured. I urge anyone filming proceedings to avoid filming members of the public, particularly if there are children present. The following members have asked to speak under Rule 24.1. Councillor Martin, Councillor Kay Gregory, Councillor Piper, Councillor Taylor-Smith, Councillor Campbell, Councillor Grove, Councillor Partington, Councillor Ashby, Councillor Smith, Councillor Curran and Councillor Bayford. Councillor Evans also asked to speak, but I believe he is not here, he has been taken ill. Are there any other councillors who wish to speak under 24.1 this evening? Thank you. Agenda item 1, apologies. I know apologies have been received. I believe all Cabinet members are here. 2, declarations of interest. Does anyone have an interest to declare in the items of business on the agenda this evening? Thank you. Item number... Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I know it's irregular, but could I recall Councillor Savage's apologies? He's unfortunately on holiday, because he would have been here otherwise. I know it's not technically correct, but I think it needs to go on the record. Thank you.
Thank you. Apologies from Councillor Savage. Declaration of interest, no? Okay. Manston Airport. We have before us a report which we'll all have a couple of days to work through, and I shall be moving this report, and it will be seconded by Councillor Smerting. I wanted to, in the introduction, start by drawing attention, perhaps immediately, to paragraph 1.1 within this report. This is something that dates back to the previous administration and their report to the Council of 11th December 2014. And it's a reminder that what we are talking about here tonight has an underlying objective. Well, that objective is to seek an indemnity partner to ensure that a viable airport comes into sustainable long-term operation as quickly as is reasonably possible without any residual cost to the Council. This decision that comes before us this evening has not been an easy one. It caused a good deal of upset under the previous administration with that meeting on the 11th December 2014, and in the run-up to this report being published and the items that are contained within it and the other information that is put into the public domain, it would appear that this is going to be an equally uncomfortable and difficult decision. But it is a decision that has to be made. We need to move forward in this area and move forward and see where, as a council, we're going to be able to achieve that ability to create, once again, a sustainable long-term operation in an airport as quick as reasonably possible without any residual cost to the council. You'll be pleased to hear I'm not going to go paragraph by paragraph through the whole report. I'm going to assume that you have read it, and I'm assuming as well that there will be questions for understanding of some of those points or comments on some of those points during the course of the rest of the evening. I want to underline a couple of very simple things for us all here today that are actually fundamentally important. The first is that there seems to be a belief abroad that this has been undertaken in a manner which is unusual, contentious, and maybe even not in line with the government guidelines.
Yes. Exactly.
I have to tell you that this report and the decisions that are coming forward from it have had the full support and recognition from a specialist barrister from Landmark Chambers who specialises in both CPO and planning matters, and also with support and advice from Sharp Pritchard, or a London firm of solicitors who similarly have specialisms in CPO and similar planning matters. And 2 seats to my right here this evening, we do have Aidan Dickinson, who's a representative of Sharp Pritchard, who has had input and some oversight to this report and the negotiations we have conducted en route. There have been 3 or 4 more full meetings between representatives of this council and representatives of RiverOak. The first of these occurred on the 19th of May here at Thanet District Council, and at that meeting 2 or 3 pretty simple things were agreed and arranged for the future. The first of those things was, it was fairly clear that given the relative unhappiness with the decision of the previous administration in December 2014, that relations between the officers who were part of that decision and RiverOak themselves were not at their best. And so in the interest of keeping that situation in the best controlled manner we could, we all decided that as things move forward, we should use the solicitors to undertake much of that negotiation and discussion rather than doing it directly between ourselves in the first instance. In addition, there was discussion at that particular meeting on the 19th of May of how and where we should consider that the money should be made available to Thanet District Council by the indemnity partner to undertake the CPO in due course. As a result of that, RiverOak sent us a letter on the 31st of May outlining the arrangements that are contained within the report and have been agreed since for when they will make money available through both their client solicitor's account in advance of there being any contract signed between us, that would be moved into an escrow account for the purposes of funding the CPO itself in due course. And there was an agreed arrangement between RiverOak and ourselves, the dates and events on which those particular things should happen, which still remains an agreement. At that time, RiverOak placed £250,000 into their solicitor's client's account as a movement of confidence towards building up the money that would be needed in the escrow account eventually. And indeed, a little further down the line, later on in July, they added another £1.3 million, giving us a very welcome £1.5 million pot held within their client solicitor's account. And that was certainly an advance on where the negotiations between the previous administration and RiverOak had got to, ending in December 2014. In addition, we agreed that the interest of both parties would be served if we did not follow what had previously occurred in terms of the Falcon Consultancy report, which stretched for priced and costed plans over a 25-year period. In many ways, the interests of this council in what the indemnity partner would do after the initial arrangement of the CPO, and indeed reaching forward to the vesting or taking control of the land, was going to be more the interests of the company that took it on rather than in our interests ourselves. So we shortened the period in which we were going to look at what the financial consequences of the situation were to a much lesser period of time, which RiverOak suggested to us was very much in their interests and very much they felt what should occur. The next formal meeting took place here again in Thanet District Council on the 3rd of July. And this is where the story seems to go a little bit awry. And we had asked that RiverOak should come and undertake a presentation for us on how they saw the different stages of funding for the resurgent airport through the CPO into the longer term. And that presentation was undertaken by Niall Lawler and Tony Freudman of RiverOak in the leader's office downstairs in the presence of 2 cabinet members and 2 officers of this council. In the course of that presentation, we ran fairly quickly through the initial stage, which all I think understand the initial stage of a CPO is likely to cost around about £2 million and take around about 2 years. That's been agreed, I think, as part of this for some time. We were then given an extension in that presentation as to what RiverOak felt was likely to be the money that was needed for them to follow through and buy the land and actually put the airport back into operation. This was the first time that RiverOak suggested that they had a figure in mind for the purchase of the land. That was repeated in our conversations with RiverOak in London on the 4th of September. I'm not going to say what that figure was. That's the figure that was given to us in negotiation that is commercially confidential, and it would be wrong of me to actually name what that figure was. However, in 2 separate meetings on the 3rd of July and the 4th of September, it was clear that within RiverOak's business plans that they had an understanding of what money they needed to expend in the years following the CPO in order to invest the land and get the thing up and running. At the conclusion of that meeting, both Mr. Lawler and Mr. Freudman told us that they were going to ensure that we understood that they were good for the money in that sense by, within days, their words not mine, providing a letter of credit on a major financial institution, and Deutsche Bank was the one that was named, showing that they would be good for that money that ran right through to investing enough to get the airport up and running with the necessary replacement equipment that had been stripped from it by the current owner. They left the meeting that day having promised us within days to provide that information. On the back of that, we authorised a cabinet meeting on the 14th of July, which was to initiate the process requested of us by full council on the 21st of May to review the position between RiverOak and ourselves as an indemnity partner and see whether they had that appropriate status. Within days of that cabinet meeting taking place, the letter of credit was being referred to as a letter of assurance. The letter of assurance eventually became a letter of comfort. The letter of comfort then became a letter of commitment, and the letter of commitment, when it finally arrived 4 weeks after that meeting took place, not within days, was what is now sort of famously known to the main public as the Oryx letter, which was certainly a letter from a major financial institution within the aviation industry, but it was not a letter of credit. What it was, expressed in its own terms, was an expression of interest. And that expression of interest was caveated by a full paragraph that stated that no one who was reading this letter could actually consider this to be a financial commitment in any way. Let me be quite clear. If we had moved without that phrase letter of credit being uttered, from knowing there was £250,000 in the account with more to come, to an expression of interest from an investor, we would have been moving forward. The fact that what had been stated this was going to be was a letter of credit that was replaced by an expression of interest with no financial value in formal terms at all was a serious step backward. As a result, we then asked RiverOak to provide, within a set number of days to a deadline, the sort of financial information that we had been promised in the meeting of the 3rd of July. RiverOak did produce further financial information. They produced them at 45 minutes before the deadline expired, and I can't remember